Hey guys, today is the top 5 tips for runners, training tips that is, and I'm going to share my screen so that we can go ahead and get started. All right, let's share here and get this slideshow going. All righty, so top 5 training tips for runners. I'll be presenting it today. And I want to just disclaim a few things. I'm the owner and physical therapist for Performative Physical Therapy. And please seek medical clearance before you start an exercise program. Make sure that your doctor is okay with that if you're starting something new. And then keep in mind, this is for educational purposes only. It does not act as a medical diagnosis for a condition. So make sure you seek a physical therapist or a doctor before performing any sort of specific treatments for yourself. That being said, a little bit about me. I've been a PT since 2012, which is hard to believe that's been 10 years. I opened Performative Physical Therapy in March of 2020 as my own practice, and I added run coaching to that in 2020 as well to allow me to use my passion for running, my passion for teaching, and then of course the PT perspective to continue to help runners and grow my business. All right, so while we're here today is to discuss 5 training tips for runners and address any questions. If people jump on here in a little bit, I will address any of those questions that may arise. So let's get started. The number 1 top training tip for runners, and the reason I picked this topic was because it is one of the major things that's going to help you prevent injury, burnout, and just feeling completely exhausted, heavy legs craziness. So that topic is avoiding overtraining. And let's dive into that a little bit more. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because I feel like there's so much that we can cram into this topic. The first part to keep in mind is that appropriate mileage increases per week are crucial. Now, you've probably heard that a 10% mileage increase each week is a standard. You've probably seen that in books, or if you've Googled anything, you've seen that 10% increase is a common number that is laid out for you. And that's a great baseline, especially if you're working with your, just coaching yourself, if you will, or trying to train just by finding something online. 10% is a great number to work with. Now, with my runners, sometimes I'll do a little bit more, sometimes I will do a little bit less, but I also know their history. I know how their training is going so that we can do these transitions safely. But 10% is a great idea for a novice runner, for those of you who are working on training yourself. But remember, but this 10% is the total weekly mileage. It's not just increasing your long run by 10%. It's taking into account the whole week. So Monday through Sunday, or however you divvy out your week, make sure that it's only a total of 10% roughly per training week. So no matter how many runs you do, keep in mind that 10% is a great benchmark for your increases. Now, running surface change. I actually got a question about running surface last week from a runner who is dealing with IT band syndrome. And she said, the weather's gonna be gross. Can I go run on the track inside? And I asked, hey, is this a track that is gonna have a little bit of a camber or an elevation change from the inside to the outside? And she said, yes. So I recommended that she did not run on that surface because essentially you're running with one leg shorter and one leg longer. So if you're constantly doing that for repetitions, it can provoke some injuries and some aches and pains, anything from IT band syndrome, Achilles tendinopathy, and other issues in the lower extremity, or even your low back can have a problem if you're running on a cambered surface all the time. So bear in mind, be careful with your cambered surfaces, whether you're running on a track or even outside on the street, because it's typically cambered so that water runs off it. What I will typically do, as long as I'm running safely, I'll try to run in the middle of the road. Now, bear in mind, I don't run with headphones when I'm out and about because I want to be able to hear cars, hear people, because we have to be so cautious these days. But bear in mind, if you try to run out one way, if you can safely run back on the same side of the street, that can also help. But bear in mind, safety is the utmost priority here. So make sure you don't change your surface. Also, if you've been running on a track or if you've been running on concrete, make sure that you don't change those surfaces too dramatically. You want to keep the surfaces pretty similar, especially before race day, so that you don't lend to any sort of training injuries for that. Speed workouts. Hey, Scar. Speed workouts. So this is something that I want you to be aware of it's only going to be 20% of your mileage each week. So you want to make sure that if you're new to quality sessions, AKA speed work, that you start small. You start with anything like a quarter mile or even 20 to 30 seconds is totally okay to start with faster runs. And then you have a recovery run time after that. So let's say you do a quarter mile at a tempo pace, do like a 2 to 3 mile short, simple, easy run after, and you can do a few intervals of that so that you're not overtraining and really putting your body in a lot of stress like that. I would, again, only recommend 1 day a week for your speed workouts and continue to only use about 20% of your whole weekly mileage. And then I just wanted to give a little plug for Cadence, because if your cadence is below 160, you're probably contacting the ground a little too hard. So things that keep in mind, you can use music that has set to a certain beat. You can also check your Garmin. It will give you a decent idea of what your cadence is. So between 160 and 180 can help you from having to have these huge braking forces when you're running and cause some other issues with overtraining. So those are the basic things for overtraining, considering your mileage increases, your surface changes, how much speed workout you're doing, and cadence. Now, that's number one. Number two training tip for runners is a warm-up. Now, I know a lot of people that I've trained. I've also known a lot of people that I've talked to that basically just go out of their house and they will start running. And I'm guilty of being that person before. I was working with a coach as well. Hey, it's easy. I'm just going to go start running. But there's a huge benefit to even doing something as simple as it says here, walking 5 to 10 minutes prior to all runs. I'm talking easy runs, quality runs, whatever it may be. Getting in a 5-minute walk can really help you. I was talking to someone today that said, hey, I went on my run and those first like 10 minutes, my legs felt like crap. You know, they feel heavy and loaded. I was like, do you walk before? And she's like, no, I just go out and I go. You know, it's the only time I'm away from my kids. I get out and I go. So I would recommend, and I told this to her today, I said, hey, get in a 5-minute walk before you go and see if that helps those legs feel a little bit better. It's going to prime your body to get moving and it's going to get ready to run. So I'm curious to see if she does that. Then dynamic warm up. These are huge for warming up before a race and before a quality session. So faster movements. I'll typically give these to runners after they've done like a 10, 15-minute jog to warm up and before like that quality meaty part of their training session. And there's two different types. So you can have an activation-based exercise, meaning, hey, I want to get your glutes firing. I want to get your quads firing because maybe you've been dealing with an injury or you notice that, you know, at mile 5, your hip starts bothering you. These activation-based exercises are crucial for you to be able to run with as little as pain as possible. And then the other dynamic movements are ones you're probably more familiar with. So that's going to be your high knees, your butt kicks, your A skips, your B skips, your karaoke. Those are basic things. And that's what most runners will do who aren't dealing with a specific injury. And the activation-based exercises can range from anything from like a standing outside leg kick, a standing clamshell, a standing single leg squat. I like to have people standing because obviously that's what we're going to be doing for the duration of our workout. So if you want any examples of those, or if you need any specific information on those, please let me know. I can divvy out some info for you. I was going to have a breakout, but I know Scar's driving right now. So we're just going to skip on past the breakout of the warm up here. And then we'll move on to number 3. All right. So number 3 is strength training. And if you've been to any of my presentations before, strength training is something I harp on 100% of the time. I don't think I've done a presentation at any point where I haven't talked about strength training at least for a little while. So let's talk about that. Here's what I recommend. And most of my clients do strength training 2 days a week, but I do have a couple that like to do it 3 days a week. They work from home. It's easier for them. They don't have kids, so they can find their way to get 3 days of strength training in. But I'd recommend 2 to 3 days of strength training because it's really going to help your body be able to tolerate the load of running, that repetitive impact for miles and miles on end. Your muscles do so much better absorbing force than your bones. So be nice to them. Make sure you use your muscles. And one thing to keep in mind is your duration of your workouts doesn't have to be like an hour and a half of daunting exercise. I have some runners that only do 10 minutes because That's what I know they'll do. That's what they can commit to. And that's what their life allows them to get done. So I'd rather it be good quality of 10 minutes than them having this long exercise routine that they just don't do, right? So way better to make sure that you get in a few minutes over just not doing anything at all. So the main things to keep in mind with strength training, so we've got 2 to 3 days a week, reps and weights. So reps and weights used to be, hey, you're a runner, you need to do 30 to 50 reps with a super light weight because that's replicating what you do. But they're finding that it's actually better to use weights that are a little heavier that you can control and lower reps, because that's really going to build the strength piece of your muscle groups, really challenge the tissue and load of the tendons and the muscles. So I typically say we're going to do 8 reps, a few sets of those. So like 2 to 3 sets of 8 reps with a decently heavy weight. Again, control is huge. If you're doing too much of a weight, you're going to have compensations, and that's not what we're going for either. So full body exercises that I typically love to implement, they're going to be things that include upper extremity and lower extremity. So your arms and your legs. And the running man, if you've worked with me, that is my favorite, hands down favorite exercise. I'll show you guys so you can have it in the video. Squats with an OH press means squats with an overhead press. So I'll show you that one. And then inchworms, you wouldn't think it would be hard, but good gracious, they will get your calf stretched out, your core activated, and everything. So let me show you the running man. Let me show you the squats with the overhead press. And then I'll try to show you inchworms. I think I don't have my camera set up perfectly for getting a good video of that. Well, let's talk about those first 2, at least for sure. So I was really cold, so I have a sweater on right now. But running man is where you're going to have one arm forward, one leg back, and those are on the same side of the body. And then you're going to have this front knee bent. After that, you're going to bring that opposite side together and then take it back down. Now we're working the quad, we're working the hips on this side, we're working the lats, we're working the hip flexors on the opposite side. So you see how this really gives you some good activation for those muscles when you're running. And it works on your balance. Some people, when they first try this, they're like all over the place. Makes me laugh, but you can enjoy the progress that you see over time. So you want to make sure that your weight stays on the leg that's doing the squatting. All right, so pardon me here. You're going to bring this up, keeping the weight on my right leg. So as I come down, I barely want to be able to touch my toe to that back leg. That way I'm really keeping that quad firing, really keeping those glutes firing. Okay. So you can add a weight to the hand that's moving. You can put a resistance band or a cable. Those are ways you can add a little resistance to the arms for that. And then the overhead press, you can grab some dumbbells. I've got a couple back here. All right. So squatting with dumbbells, key things for this. You want your butt to go back, right? So sometimes it's okay to have your knees over your toes, but for this, I want you to really fire your glutes, okay? And then you're gonna come up and press. Things to not do. Don't arch your back. That's a no-no, all right? Make sure you're pushing up controlled too, so that you get a nice full body movement. And it's actually almost a power move, which is great for us as runners. You wouldn't think about it too much, but we want power when we run too. All right, so overhead squat. And then the inchworm, let's see. You're gonna come down on your hands and knees. I'm gonna look at the floor, so if you can't see me, I'm sorry. You'll go down. All right, you're gonna walk your feet up towards your hands and then walk your hands out. And then keep going from there. My headphone fell out. All right. My face is red from being down. So that is strength. Key things, 2 to 3 times a week. Make it doable, digestible, time that you can allow for it. Reps and weights. Again, I'd probably say 8 reps, 2 to 3 sets, depending on your time allowance. And then you've got multiple options. I have a huge myriad of videos for exercises that I give my runners that's going to just keep their program having some variety, but also making sure we hit all the muscle groups that we need as runners. All right, top number 4, easy runs. Oh my gosh, this is something that took me forever to learn, and I hated it at first, but now I love an easy run. It's nice because I can do it after eating. I can fit it in any time of the day, and allows you to have some good camaraderie and time building with your friends on an easy run. So this should be the majority of your training, in my opinion. Typically say about 80% of your training is an easy run. And the thing I like to harp on is, with Strava these days, with social media, I even struggle with the fact that I'm going to put a run that says I've been running a 10:30 mile. Like, that makes me look slow. Who's going to want to work with me? But then I remember, like, this is where my body is. This is what's good. So when I see people that always have the same paces, regardless of their race, regardless of their training style, I know they're probably lending their bodies to some overtraining. So be confident and be willing to, hey, say, I'm going to run a slow mile. Yeah, that's cool. That's what I need right now. I know I'm training smart. So I had to harp on that social media piece for a little bit, because even I struggle with it myself, even though I know the purpose of what I'm doing. So this is a conversational pace. You're running with your friends. You can talk the whole time. Scar, I know you've posted about running with your friends and how you love it. So it's great. It's a good pace controller, because if you're trying to talk like this, you're going too fast for an easy run. It should be able to really have a great conversation, enjoy your time with your friends, and get out and get a run in. And why do we do this? There is physiology behind it. It does build your base. It's going to help your body be able to tolerate that repetitive load better. Now, your speed workouts are really going to work on that lactate threshold, or if you've heard of lactic acid, that's where your tempo runs come in. But this is just, hey, let's get the body moving. Let's get it used to getting fluids and stuff throughout our muscles and throughout our vascular system, so that it's happy and can build on our distance. So if you start with 5 miles, easy, it's really going to help you start progressing to that 6, 12, or if you're going for that full, start easy. All right. Easy runs are key. Love easy runs. And number 5, the last one that we're going to go over is just kind of a types of training, because each runner has a different motivation for what they're doing. And I wanted to give you guys some ideas of ways that you can use different types of like exertion to help you determine how you're doing as far as easy runs, tempo runs, interval runs, whatever it may be. So you've got 3 different types listed here. We've got RPE, which is something I use in the physical therapy world, but it's also something that can be used in running as well. And basically, it's how exerted do you feel when you're doing an exercise. So you'll see the picture here on the right side. Is it a very light run, so like our easy runs, or max effort? Typically, that's not going to be a run that I'm going to give you, unless we're doing sprints for some middle or short distance running, but I don't coach anyone like that right now. So you're probably going to stay between 1s and 7s. All right. So that way you're saying, gosh, I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable. I'm short of breath. Please don't make me talk right now. That's going to be like your tempo interval runs. But you're very light. Your light activity is going to be your easy runs. You're chilling. You're hanging out with your friends. You're having a great time. So that's exertion. That's how you actually feel when you're running. And then there's heart rate zones. You've probably seen people have, hey, I stayed in this zone, or my heart rate was this while I was running, so I know I was taking it easy. Garmin has this ability to show you what zone you were in based on your heart rate. So that is an option you can also train by if you'd like. There's always heart rate monitors. Those are a little bit more accurate, I feel like, than Garmin, because Garmin will say that my heart rate is like 180, 190 when I'm doing an easy run. And yeah, that's not quite accurate. So if you're concerned if your accuracy of Garmin is a problem, you can always check your heart rate manually, and that can give you a better idea of where you're at. And then pace. This is what the majority of my clients use, is pace. And so it's based off of a race pace. And I'd recommend, if you're trying to figure out these paces by yourself, V.02 has a great calculator to allow you to know what your easy paces are, your threshold, your interval, your marathon, all that jazz is there for you. And it's a great option to reference. So RPE, heart rate zones, pace. There's other means, but these are the basics that are easily accessible for you as a runner. All right, so Scar, do you have any questions? I know you're driving here. You good?
Hey, Star.
Hey, lady.
Hey there. No, I don't think so. Not really. I mean, honestly, I like how you mentioned though about like being able to like have a conversation and like casually like talk while you're running, instead of like overexerting yourself. That's never fun.
Yeah, no, and it's I mean, easy runs should be the majority. So it's a great way to keep in mind if you're actually doing too much. Even if you're by
Yeah.
yourself, if you want to try to like sing with your music, or if you say a sentence and you're like, oh, I'm exhausted, even by yourself, you can
Yeah.
see if it's too much.
Well, actually, I do have a question. So I have a race coming up in March because I'm doing the Woodlands,
Yes.
and it's my first one. And so I don't like you had mentioned that training wise, you should be taking it easier than actual race day. So like as far as the activity level of like pace and things, like how like should you still be able to have like that conversational pace while running a race, or what do you think?
No, that's gonna be a little different.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
What was that?
Race day is a little different. Okay, because
Okay.
during training, 80% easy runs, you're not really going crazy, you're not going full out. But race day, when
Okay.
it comes up, that's what we train for. So when you
Okay.
get to race day, you do want to push it a little bit. Now, the key thing, it's your first one. Don't go out too fast. You're going to
Okay.
feel really good. You're going to be like, yeah, I've got this adrenaline flowing. I'm feeling great. So I would recommend making sure you check what pace you want to run the race in, so that you can kind of rein yourself in, because that adrenaline and that excitement is going to make you want to take off. And then what's going to happen is your legs are going to start cramping. You're going to start feeling like you've hit a huge wall. So start off slow. If you're still feeling great towards the like 3/4 at the end of it, pick it up a little bit. But the crucial thing, and the thing that I see with most runners when they first do their race, is, oh my God, I went out too fast and I crashed hard. So
So kind of like take it easier at the beginning, probably like and how you're feeling depending on that, and that's when you kind of want to pick it up a little bit. Okay. So today I ran with a friend, and honestly we went really easy. Like we did 5 miles, and then I told her, I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna go like 2 more. Well, I ended up feeling so good. I was like, okay, actually I'm gonna go 2 more. And then I ended up like just doing 10 miles, and I was like, okay. I'm like,
I saw
don't know
that.
if I'm crazy. I know. I was like, I don't know if I'm crazy. Like I never would ever like do that voluntarily. I don't know, whatever. So, but I really did feel so good. Like when I was at mile 9, I was like, wow, I feel like I can just like keep going.
So that is a perfect indicator that you are running an easy pace. If you're feeling like I could keep going forever, relatively speaking, that's a great indicator that you're at the perfect pace for your easy runs.
Okay. And then how do you know when you're just like race ready? I don't know. I'm nervous kind of, but I'm also excited. I've never ran anything like this.
You're doing the half, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've got to 10 miles before your first race, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, even 9, depending on the first race, you're totally fine. Nerves, completely normal. Nerves are part of the game. I still get freaking nervous before every race. So that's totally normal. It means you're ready to go. You're excited about it. So yeah, I think you're good as far as distance. If you can get to 10, you're solid. Just make sure you don't take off too soon and stick to a plan. If you want to use this V.02 calculator, let me switch. I can kind of show you.
I took a screenshot of that. So I'm gonna check it out when I get to the house.
Yeah, if you go, there's a calculator. This one. So you can either do your distance, you can kind of do what you ran. So this is typically based on a race pace. Now you may not have a particular race yet, but it will allow you to kind of have an idea. So for example, let's say you did a 5K in let's say 32 minutes, right? So here's an idea of what your 1 mile pace would be, your 1K, those sort of things. It also gives you an idea of some training paces too, and what you can expect. So here's kind of some ways to have an idea of a plan you can stick to when you're racing. So 10:18, but notice that would be only for a 5K. So maybe give yourself a little grace and do like a 10:30 pace to start with, something along those lines. But you can play with those numbers and kind of see how it works with what you've been doing.
Okay. Yay.
Yay, I'm excited for you. Everybody loves the Woodlands, and it's flat. So it's great that it's a flat race.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's a good first
I heard
one.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope the weather's nice. Fingers crossed. Because I've heard stories.
It's Houston. God.
I know. At this point, I feel like I've ran everything. I feel like I'm ready. I ran in a cold, hot, wet. So
you'll be set. You get a medal and a T-shirt now for this run, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I'll even give you a banana, maybe a beer. I'm not sure, but yeah.
I think you're right.
It'll be fun. I've heard it's a great one. I will do it eventually, but I run in Vegas this year, so won't be doing that one.
When are you running in Vegas?
The 25th, or this month. It's in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Are you doing? Is it a full?
Sorry, it's the 27th. No, it's just a half.
Okay, that's still really awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing it with some friends.
Oh,
so
hey, I meant to ask you. You play?
Okay, go ahead.
I meant to ask you, where'd you play basketball?
Texas Lutheran University.
Okay, that's cool. So I actually played basketball too in college. I played in a small school in Kansas, but I was the graduate assistant a few years ago at HSU.
Oh wow! Hardin Simmons?
Yeah, for the women's basketball team. Right after I graduated college, I was the GA there, and then COVID happened, and I ended up coming home and then started my business. But that's so cool.
That is fun. A small world. Yeah, we played against Hardin Simmons. Yeah, small school. Texas Lutheran's a D3 school, so played for a couple of years and then ran track after that because we won stuff. Basketball, we won one game in the 2 seasons I played.
Oh my gosh. That's really cool though. I saw that on the last Zoom you did.
Yep. Yeah, small world, man. Basketball, then to running. It's a thing.
I know. I never would have thought I would be here. I used to literally be like, y'all are crazy. What the heck? But one thing you said though, like strength training, that's literally how I got into this in the first place.
Nice.
Strength training, I could tell like I was feeling really good. Anytime we had like runs in our WOD, I was just like killing it and I felt really awesome. And then one day I was like, I think I'm just gonna go see what it feels like to run. And then like secretly liked it and I was like, all right, this is getting weird.
I secretly liked it.
And
now you're running a half marathon. Yes.
Yeah. So here we are. This is awesome though. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for jumping on. And I wish you the best at your race. And if you need anything, let me know. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, have fun. Enjoy it. It'll be a great time.
Are you gonna send this out by chance? I would like to look at it again.
Yeah, I'm trying to record it. It says I'm recording. So you know me and Zoom, we're still getting acquainted. So I'm going to try to do that. Yes, that is my goal.
Okay, I do have a suggestion. I actually recorded something on Zoom yesterday, and the way that I was able to send it out, I ended up uploading it to, I don't know how you say it, Vimeo or Vimeo. I don't know. I'll send you the link, but that's like the easiest way to send it out to people. Especially like these longer files, and you can like crop it and do what you need to do. But
nice.
I'll send you the name.
Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's helpful. It's helpful, and it's easy to like send a link out instead of trying to email a huge Google Drive.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Thank you. All right, lady. Well, I am going to end this thing. Do you have any other questions?
No, not as of now, but if I do, I'll ask you later.
You know where to find me.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, you have a great evening. Take care.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye.